Yeah.
Bro, ça tue, ça blesse, ça flingue. Hey, 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 bro.
Welcome back to the BME Podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Real sport talk meets unfiltered debates. Fellas, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
You know, it could be better. Could be better. We here. You know what I'm talking about.
If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, like, share, jump in the comments with your takes. We trying to be here for a good time and a long time on this episode. We've got a stacked lineup for y'all today. Of course, we got the game coming back again for another week. Panic or don't panic on some big names. AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, their situations, early Heisman buzz, and an underrated NBA vet. And we got a whole lot more, but we're going to get straight into it. Starting off with panic or don't panic. Some big names off to little rocky starts in different sports. We're going to list these names and y'all let me know, should we be worried? Should we panic? Arch Manning, is this just growing pains or is the hype already looking shaky for Arch Manning?
I think the hype was a lot coming in, and it was all funneled because his last name is Manning. So that's why he was so hyped coming in. It's like, oh shoot, there's another great Manning quarterback coming, even though we haven't seen anything to give us that just cause that he's gonna be great. But I think he might be injured. I think he might be playing injured because the way he's throwing, the throwing arm slot that he's throwing from, and he's missing a lot of throws. Like, my hope is that he's injured and he's trying to play through it, because otherwise this is not looking good for Arch. And this is year one as a starter. Texas, they were crowning him the golden boy. And hey, if he has to sit out a game or a few games, could the backup possibly take his spot if he starts playing well? I mean, it's possible because he hasn't played well. He didn't play well against Montclair State last week. So I don't think that he's earned the right to just hold this starting spot at Texas.
Look, man. I mean, I think he's injured. It's not even that I hope he is. Like Miles was saying, I think he is. I think he's injured. I think he's got a real issue when you talk about that shoulder. Because when you see him wincing after he throws a football, that's not normal. You don't see that every time a guy drops back and throws a football. You're not seeing him start to wince. So there's real concern. There's no reason to be concerned about his health. And I know Sark got really weird with the reporter when they asked him about his health, and he was ready to jump over the podium and attack the guy because he asked him about his shoulder. Like, clearly, Arch is not right, because when you played last year, he didn't look like this. I mean, even against lesser competition, he just didn't look the way he looks right now. He didn't struggle to get that ball down the field or put a little something behind the football to get it to where it needs to go. So there's real reason to be concerned, but I think Texas's secrecy around the injury is odd. It's weird. And now you think about it, in college, it's not like they have an injury report that you really can look at. Not that I really know of. So it is just another weird, archaic thing about college football that he probably needs to change, is the transparency around these guys' injuries. And when you think about the fact they're getting paid millions of dollars now with the NIL, and the fact that you can gamble on college football and always have been able to, but now you're openly gambling, we should know if guys are hurt. Like, we should know that. I think it's a larger conversation about the way that the NCAA operates, like some organization from the 1800s that can't really change their ways, right? And this is one of those weird things that hasn't changed, and it's quietly been a thing in the sport for a long time. So I think we can see he's hurt. So I'm not like too hard on him in that sense where I'm acting as if he sucks in a vacuum. I just think the reality of it is he's not healthy, and he probably shouldn't be out there. He's hurting himself more than he's helping himself. That's the reality of it.
I'm curious when he got hurt. That's what I'm really curious about, because if it happened during the season, fine. That happens. People get hurt. If he wants to play through it, I mean, yeah, shout out to him for trying to battle through it, even though feel like it's doing more damage than good for him right now. But if this happened in like camp,
spring ball or something,
spring ball, and they tried to like do rehab, and then he went into training camp with an injury, then that's where you got to look at Sark and you got to look at the training staff and be like, how could you ruin a top flight prospect like this? Who, I mean, yeah, he didn't play top competition last year, but you saw bits and pieces of what could be a really good quarterback, and that's why the hype was what it was this year coming in. But if he was damaged goods in July, and now we're almost in October, and he's still trying to play through it, like the whole training staff might have to be fired for that.
I mean, he was challenging all parts of the field last year. This year, he doesn't even want to throw it an out route, like to the short side of the field, like let alone challenge every part of the field with the football. So the decrease in arm strength is a real concern with him. It's not so much, anything else. Like it's really that. Like, and then like how weird he's trying to throw. He throws weird sidearm passes, and he's just the weird things like that. Like just all the signs are there. He's hurt. It's clear as day, and he needs to get a step away and get healthy and take care of himself and get a little selfish. That's the reality of it. That's just the truth.
Speaking of injuries, Joe Burrow is injured. I'm not going to ask anything of a panic or don't panic. I'm going to kind of veer away just for this one question for the game, because we know that everybody in Cincinnati is panicking. It's another season where we're probably not going to see Joe Burrow. But the more important question, I believe, regarding Joe Burrow and this latest injury, how much of the Joe Burrow injuries is the O-line versus his style of play?
Style of play is more of a factor than the offensive line to me. He is trying to create something out of nothing because he can. He's done it numerous times throughout his career. And so because he's done that and he has that ability to, stretch the play and create something down the field for his receivers, he does it more often than not because he can. He's gifted enough. I mean, there's plenty of highlights of Joe Burrow shrugging off defensive tackles and, edge rushers coming at him and staying on his feet and extemporizing and creating, just extending the play. But, it's him. It's him. Like, you got to know when to dirt the football. You got to know when to throw it away. And we've seen people be successful at this. I gave the example. I said, hey, it's Eli Manning. Eli Manning did a phenomenal job of just killing a play when he was dead. That's why he played and never got hurt. He did not miss a game due to injury in his entire career because he was just really good at knowing when a play was dead. That's the reality. And Tom Brady is the same way. It was no different. Tom Brady was not going to get out there and take unnecessary risks with his body. He knew how to avoid you in the pocket just subtly and make the throw and play on time. But if these things were messed up from the beginning of the play, he was going to throw it away. He was really good at that. He was really good at not turning the ball over and keeping his team in advantageous situations. Joe Burrow is trying to just be Superman, and I understand why. If you want to blame the Bengals for anything, blame him for the fact that he feels like he has to be Superman, right? Because I mean, look, like you didn't support him with a great offensive line to begin with, right? And I think on some level you've always encouraged him to kind of play this way. It's not like no one's ever told him not to play this way. We don't know what goes on in that building, but he's been playing that way for so long, and he's had so much success with him playing that way that's got to be the biggest reason. Right? Why, or one of the biggest reasons why he plays that way. So I think it's more about him than the offensive line. The offensive line has not been good. Don't get me wrong, but there are plenty of quarterbacks playing with bad offensive lines who don't take the amount of risk that he takes in terms of trying to extend plays and make big plays down the field. He's always trying to go for broke. That's what it feels like with him. So yeah, it's unfortunate. He's injury prone, by the way. It's official. I mean, he's had way too many injuries in his career now to not be called injury prone. That is where we are. Joe Burrow is officially injury prone. We talked about this last year. Last year, I think it was the hand or the wrist thing. And so there's just been things compounding through that guy's career. He's taken a real beating. But hey, I mean, they'll tell you that the fans of the Bengals will tell you that the investments they've made into their wide receiving core and to Trey Hendrickson, who they paid a bunch of money to, that's all they needed. And it's just those guys, just those four players. And we're good and we're going to win a Super Bowl. I don't see how when the league is trending to teams that are good being great in the trenches. It doesn't make sense. But okay, well, let's see how this goes. I mean, he ain't playing the rest of the year. I read up on what turf toe even is. it's a crazy injury. Turf toe sounds like you jammed your toe into some turf or something. It's the torn ligament in your foot. It's insane. So he not only is he going to miss the rest of the year, he may never be the same in terms of like running around and being explosive and sudden movements in the pocket. He may never be the same. But it'd be a great episode to have our dear friend on. But it is what it is, right?
Hey Miles, just want to ask you this, right? So, if you're a GM right now, right, you see we've kind of transitioned to a different style of quarterback, where we have more not only mobile quarterbacks but players that extend plays when we talk about the quarterback position, and it doesn't obviously always mean that they had to be running. Joe Burrow wasn't leading the league in rushing, but he extended plays. Would you rather a traditional pocket passer or a QB that will extend plays?
I think now you kind of need a QB to extend plays and be a little creative, because they're not always going to have a perfect pocket to throw from. You got to be able to feel the rush, feel the pressure, and make a play off of that. I mean, I feel like Caleb does that too much, even when he's fine in the pocket. And even looking at Lamar, like Lamar started off as this running quarterback and emphasis on running at the beginning of his career. But now he might be the top passer in the league. And not just saying like he's the best quarterback in the league, because look what he can do. He can make plays inside the pocket, outside the pocket. Now he's not even looking to just run. He's always got his eyes downfield. He goes through his reads, his progressions, and he can throw like that. So, yeah, I'd take a quarterback who can, who's a little more mobile, can get out of the pocket, be creative. I mean, I feel like this is trending this way anyways after seeing like Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not saying he's the same type of quarterback as Lamar. They're totally different. But kind of that flashiness, that creativeness, that you can keep a play alive, and that allows your wide receivers to see that, and they change their route. They run a different way. And now there's creative ways to score touchdowns.
Staying with quarterbacks, we'll look at a quarterback wide receiver duo over in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is 43 of 73, 58.9 completion percentage with a 449 yards, 4 TDs, 3 interceptions. His wide receiver 2, not 1, but the wide receiver 1 ain't getting much love either. But we're going to talk specifically wide receiver 2, Travis Hunter, 9 catches, 55 yards, 0 TDs. On the defensive side, he has 3 tackles and 1 pass deflected. Are these early season hiccups or red flags that we should be aware of for the long run?
I didn't think that Travis got open in college by being a precise or great route runner. So I'm not surprised he's having trouble, because, you're asking a guy to go in there and just be more athletic than these guys in the NFL. And that's not easy to do, man. I mean, Malik Neighbors don't get open because he's a better athlete than everybody else. He is, but he also is just a great route runner and can create separation, right? And understands how to sell routes and can run every route in the route tree. You have to be a technician at this thing. That's what we talked about, being a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And that's the reality with a guy like Travis Hunter. Like, I mean, there was always a chance that this could happen at this level because you've never seen it before. You've never seen a guy go out there and play 2 positions. We've heard about guys in the past that have had the career trajectory that Travis Hunter had, where they played 2 positions in college. Champ Bailey being one of them, who was an incredible defensive player, but had to commit to that side of the football, right? And so, yeah, I think the reality is that he may have gotten some bad advice, like on the way up, and from Coach Prime. We love calling Coach Prime. It's crazy. Letting him play 2 positions really didn't help him. He needed to focus on one and become a master at his craft at one, because it's hard enough to do that at a high level in the NFL, let alone try to do that and play corner, be a wide receiver 2 and go out there and cover the other team's best offensive weapon. It's a lot to ask of him. So, I mean, look, there's still time. Obviously, he's a young guy. They're going to have to make this advancement stand up. But when they traded all that capital, they traded to get him. I didn't think it was smart then. And I thought Travis Hunter could be a really good wide receiver in the NFL, and I still think he can, but he has to commit to that side of the ball. That's my thing. He has to find his niche. And it's hard to do that when you have to worry about the defensive playbook, being defensive meetings, and worry about covering Jamar Chase or whatever it is on the other side of the ball. It doesn't make any level of sense. And it's a lot to ask of anybody and too much to ask. And with the injury risk in football, why am I doubling it anyways? Makes no sense. Even if he was great at both positions, the injury side of things does it that alone makes it not worth it. So there are legitimate concerns with, Travis Hunter and how things are going. But they've got to make him pick a side to make that investment they put into this guy stand up, because you get fired for making a trade like that and the guy doesn't work out. That alone will get you fired. It's in all reality. So
I think
there's that.
I think they have to make it work with both sides, because otherwise then you traded all this draft capital to get just a receiver or just to get a cornerback. Like, sure, like it's worth it if he becomes an all-pro in either one. But I mean, that's a lot for a team that's not really on the cusp of competing for a championship. That's a lot of draft capital to give up for one player, and one who, I mean, he hasn't really made that much of an impact on these first two games. Like, I've seen some defensive snaps that I'm encouraged about. Like, I think he could be a really good corner in this league, but he's got to commit. And yeah, Trevor's got to take some of the blame for this. He's missed some throws. I mean, but then again, it's the first year with Liam Cohen. He's still trying to get his footing as the quarterback there. Travis is learning a new system. He's also not playing in the Big 12, where he gets to play Colorado State and all these other powder puff teams. Like, you're in the league now. These guys, they're getting paid to lock you up. And right now he's getting a lot of looks in the intermediate to short range, which I'm like, all these guys are just as fast as you. So that's why his yards per catch are so low. Like you said, route running is an issue. And I don't know if he's going to be able to fix that throughout the season. They're just going to have to try to make it work this year and hope he develops in the offseason. But
hey, I'm glad I did not use him as a pick in my fantasy, but that's a whole nother discussion. There's some 0-2 teams already off to a bad start. We all know the stats and what's said. If you start 0-2, you might as well start booking your flights and vacation. Some of the main teams, there's about 6 or 7 teams. We're going to touch on these 4 teams: Texans, Chiefs, Bears, Panthers. Which of these teams should actually panic, and which ones will turn it around?
I think the Bears should kind of be panicking a little bit. Like, this is year 2 with Caleb, and sure, it's a new system. Ben Johnson, I don't know if his system's easy to grasp this soon, but I mean, they lost on primetime week 1, and he was put on primetime because, I mean, former number 1 pick going into year 2, we're expecting some progression. And I mean, it looked good at the start, but hey, most quarterbacks look good with that opening script. It's what you do after that really impresses me. And he just hasn't looked great outside of that opening drive in these 2 games. And a lot of throws that are just too hard. And I mean, we did this last week with Caleb, but the Bears, I'm sure they got Ben Johnson there thinking, okay, we got somebody creative. We got a guy who was, touted as a genius when it comes to, you saw what he did with Detroit. Now he's going to do that with Chicago. It doesn't work like that. You don't have the same players that Detroit does. You don't have a Jahmyr Gibbs. You don't have a St. Brown. You don't have a Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff is better than Caleb right now. He can manufacture offense, and he can play within an offense better than Caleb Williams can. So a team that was looking for positives coming into this year, all you've seen is negatives. They just got 51 points hung on them in week 2. I thought this defense would be better. They're not.
I mean, yeah, I think you covered the Bears aspect of it, and that's certainly the easy answer to this question, 100%. I think another team you got to worry about is the Texans. The Texans and the Chiefs. I'll go with both. I don't know if you put the Chiefs in this category or not, but I think you might have. But the Texans and Chiefs are both extremely offensively challenged. There's no juice to their offenses whatsoever, and they both have issues starting with the fact that they can't run the football and take pressure off of their quarterbacks at all. And with the Texans inexplicably trading all those offensive linemen away, including an All-Pro and Laramie Tunsil, and giving them to Jaden Daniels, was just it was the dumbest thing I'd seen a GM do in a really long time. You don't trade All-Pro tackles; you just don't do it. They're extremely hard to replace. You don't just find them. So you're lucky to have one. Every so now and then, an organization gets lucky and gets an All-Pro left tackle, or All-Pro right tackle, or a great offensive line unit, and you try your best to keep them together. You compromise other parts of your football team financially to keep those guys together. That's what you do. You don't let that guy walk out the building for whatever the reason might be. And it wasn't like we heard anything about him getting in trouble. Like, they just let him go, so they just traded him, and for not much of a return at that, whatever it might have been. It wasn't worth it. Regardless, both those teams are offensively challenged. They don't have the offensive pieces to be able to withstand an offensive line that simply can't create for them, right? And if you look at a team like the Chiefs, they've gotten progressively worse at every skill position over the years. I mean, left tackle, when they were on their Super Bowl runs, I think they had Orlando Brown there for a little while, right? Before he moved on and went to go play for the Bengals and wherever else he went. They had him and they couldn't pay him, let him walk. They try to sell you on the guy, Juwan Taylor, who every possession jumps on, is early. And he literally is his false start every single time. He's early. He is so scared of getting beat around the edge that he is jumping well before that snap gets off. And he gets away with it almost on every single snap. It's unbelievable. They've downgraded every position. Running back, they've tried to cheat that position. Isaiah Pacheco, that was lightning in the bottle. Okay, that was great. You got him off the Jersey Turnpike. Awesome. You can't just live with that guy. You've got to bring in Kareem Hunt behind him to back him up. Kareem Hunt, you had him back when you had Alex Smith. That's 2016. I don't even know how long. This is a long time ago. Maybe longer than that. And sort of bring him back now in his old age, when this guy should be on AARP, and you having him get carries for you every single game. What do you think is going to happen? You wide receiving core, you let Tyreek Hill go. Okay, all right, we all can make sense of it. You guys are trying to allocate funds into your defense, which looked good for a while, and you guys made some Super Bowl runs out of it. Awesome. Now what? You guys have nothing. All right, you guys have nothing offensively. No one scares you. Your best wide receiver is Hollywood Brown. Okay, right now, Rashee Rice went and nearly killed somebody with his car, and so now you don't even got him playing football. And you've got your dumb players talking about free Rice. Free him from what? His stupidity? Free him from himself? What are you freeing him from? It doesn't make any sense. So the Chiefs are, we can talk about Mahomes and how great he is, but outside of Mahomes making a great play, they're not explosive. And people are like, oh, they'll be fine. They're gonna go and beat the Giants this weekend. Okay, they might. They might. The Giants don't know how to win games. They probably will. But they could lose that game. And you know what's crazy about that? The reality of that situation is that Andy Reid doesn't lose in September. So if for you to say there's no red flag here as a Chiefs fan, you're lying to yourself. That guy does not lose. As long as he's been there, they don't lose. Historically, Andy Reid is an incredible coach at the beginning of seasons. They are awesome. He's a guaranteed 4-0 in September. For them to be 0-2 right now, sound the alarms. They're in real trouble. And the offensive hope ain't coming. Travis Kelce is a shell of himself. He just is. He should have retired. We shouldn't be watching this version of this guy because he was truly dominant. All right, you shouldn't want to play unless you can be dominant. And it's sad to watch him play at anything other than an All-Pro level. So the Chiefs are in real trouble. And I know I started that. At least the Texans have Nico Collins. At least they got that. That's better than every receiver that the Chiefs have combined. At least they have that. But they're still offensively challenged, and poor C.J. Stroud, they're talking crazy about him and everything like that. It's not his fault. It's just it's a bad situation. It really is. It's tough.
Texans need to figure something out because that's a Super Bowl level defense. Bowl level defense. Make something. I know it's hard to try to figure and fix the offensive line once the season has started. Y'all should have did it during the offseason, but that's a Super Bowl level defense, and y'all wasting that away. on the Chiefs side, my biggest concern when you're watching the Chiefs this year is the amount of running that Pat Mahomes is actually doing. It's only 2 games in, but he saved running for the playoffs, end of games, big games. He's running like he is Lamar Jackson rookie season, and he's actually trying to truck people. Hey, it might not even last this entire season if you got Pat Mahomes running like that. Not wishing this upon him, but injury may happen for Pat Mahomes.
I saw a video of him limping the other day. I saw him limping in that Eagles game. He's gonna get himself hurt, but he's trying to be Superman, just like Joe Burrow, right? All right, man. You're gonna Superman your way right to the IR, right to PUP. Go hang out with Brittany and the kids.
Speaking of teams struggling, let's talk about 2 wide receivers in some tough spots. Tyreek Hill, 10 catches, 149 yards, 0 TDs. He has at least 3, though, 20-plus yard receptions. A.J. Brown, on the flip side, has 6 catches, 35 yards, 0 TDs, no 20-plus yard receptions, obviously. He has 1 first down. Throw a little stat out there. Ted McMillan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Hollywood Brown all have more catches than Tyreek Hill so far, just to name a few. And all of those players, along with Jawan Jennings, De'Ami Brown, and Sterling Shepard has more catches than A.J. Brown currently. Sterling Shepard. Who's in a tougher spot with their quarterback? A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill.
I'd say Tyreek. Just because, yeah, he had 100 yards last week, but I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to do this every single time. Like, clearly, there's a chemistry issue between him and Tua, and he asked out last year. I don't think that ever really changed. I don't think he wants to be in Miami. And yeah, he can fake the funk in front of the cameras and to the media, but like the body language on the sideline, him getting frustrated with the throws in week 1, getting frustrated at the end of the game with the throws in week 2, in a game that they should have won against the Patriots. But I mean, again, Tua's not that guy, and I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. So yeah, Tyreek, his best bet is getting traded. And then for A.J. Brown, I mean, he's had slow starts in Philly, but with Jalen as his quarterback, he's been an All-Pro 3 times in a row. So I think this will get righted at some point. Like, he's going to get it right. This could be a get-right game this week against the Rams. So I'm betting on A.J. Brown being a little happier than he's looked the first 2 weeks. Because he doesn't look happy, and I wouldn't be happy either. I mean, I just looked it up. He's averaging like 17 yards a game right now. And some people average that per catch. So, yeah, I'd be pissed off. But that, I think they'll get it right.
Look, neither situation is great, but at least Tua is going to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill. At least the ball's going to travel to the air for some type of distance, the short distance it can go with Tua, but he's going to make an attempt to get him the football. You just said he had a 100-yard game. You just said it last week against the Patriots. He had a 100-yard game. AJ is not even sniffing that. This situation with the Eagles offense is sad, and it feels like every other year we're in this spot with them. Every other year. I mean, obviously when you have success, you lose coaches, you lose coordinators, but something has to be said for the fact that Sirianni does not know what the heck he is doing. All right, because you're the one tasked with hiring offensive coordinators. And the thing on film that everyone talks about in reality is the fact that the route combinations are awful. Like, they're bad, like they're uncompetitive, and it's tough to operate the offense and give your receivers opportunities to make plays. That being said, the two things work in conjunction. Is not just Sirianni being awful, because I knew he was awful. This team is not great because of Sirianni. This team is great because they're a super team. They're great because Howie Roseman did a phenomenal job putting this thing together. They are a super team. The fact that they can win in spite of their anemic offense right now is everything I need to tell you. They are phenomenal with the offensive line. They win the trenches. The defensive line's phenomenal too. That's with Jalen Carter being out of shape, not even being interested. Okay, but going back to my point, it's the two things work in conjunction. Sirianni has to hire better coordinators who are more imaginative and can create opportunities, explosive plays for the receivers. But Jalen Hurts can't miss easy throws either, and there's plenty of that on tape. Jalen Hurts is throwing ducks right now. It looks like it hurts for him to throw the football. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he looks the way he looks. It really is an every other year proposition with him, or 1 year he looks really good throwing the football, the next year he doesn't. Like, it's just weird. And then when the playoffs start, all of a sudden he gives you a quote of going into the postseason. All of a sudden he starts throwing the ball around like he's primed Culpepper or something, like just Warren Moon. He looks great all of a sudden. It's weird, right? But sometimes they don't figure it out. Remember, there was a year just like this, and the year they lost to the Bucks, I believe, in the playoffs, they got upset. There was a year just like this where they were anemic offensively and lost to the Bucks and got upset early in the postseason, or maybe it was like the divisional or something like that. And so, honestly, this team can be beat. This team can easily beat in the postseason. It's early. People are going to tell me this, that, the third. They're 2-0. Great, whatever. Cool. You guys offensively cannot look this way when the postseason starts. It cannot happen. Let me tell you something. The offensive coordinator is not going to all of a sudden become Andy Reid over the span of 5 or 6 weeks, or going into the cold months, getting ready for December football. It's not going to happen. And I'll also say one more thing about the Eagles too that's important to note. And I know it's off topic. I answered your question. I'd rather be Tyreek Hill, because I'd rather live in Miami as well. So there's that. Not that much to complain about. But he's a teenage Ninja Turtle. He always finds a way to complain about things or whatever. So it's a joke. But with the Eagles, that push, gotta ban it. They're jumping the snap, and they've been doing it since they started that play. It's a guaranteed first down, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, it's just Jalen Hurts squats 800 pounds." Shut up, please. It is because they are jumping the snap, and no one's calling it. And you got dudes pushing him from behind, literally pushing his butt. It's why it's called a tush push, ahead into the pile. It's an unguardable play. Now, they run it well because they execute it well. Other teams can't copy it because they've got the greatest offensive line I have ever seen assembled in my life. All pros, all across the offensive line, dog. Look, this is not me being a sore loser about it. This is not me being nothing. I'm being honest. They are jumping the snap. Chris Jones said it. All right, Chris Jones said it. Chris Jones was out here speaking truth that day, and Chris Jones said it. And you saw the replay. They're jumping the snap. It's illegal. It's an illegal play. They should get rid of it. It's not fun to watch. The Eagles' offense is literally give Saquon the ball 3 times and then tush push across for the first down. That's their offense. That's what they're doing right now. It's horrific. It's horrific. And then I'll say this to close this whole thing too. How shame on all of you. Shame on you for trying to tell me about Jalen Hurts being a top 5 quarterback. Shame.
I knew the rant was going to end here. I knew it was.
Shame. It's a joke. What are we talking about? I said it during the summer, and people looked at me like I was crazy. He's not better than Dak, bro. He's not a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. I'm telling you, he's not a better thrower of the football than Dak Prescott. He's not. Dak Prescott's an elite quarterback, bro. When you throw, he's a great thrower of the football. He is. Y'all just hate on him because he plays for that team over there down in Dallas, which I've always co-signed because I hate the Cowboys too. But let's be real. He's a great thrower of the football, man. That dude knows how to play the position at a high level. And I'm not saying Jalen doesn't, but Jalen gets it done differently, and his job is different than every other quarterback in the sport. He has the easiest job of any quarterback in the sport. And it's just being honest. You know who's second though? Any quarterback who plays for San Francisco, because Shanahan's a genius. There's that too. Mac Jones just went for like 350, whatever.
You are
3 touchdowns.
You are Skip Bayless to LeBron James. That's what you are. With Jalen Hurts, you Skip Bayless to LeBron James.
That's the same. Skip Bayless was lying on LeBron James. I am telling you. Tell me I'm wrong. Go ahead and sit here and tell me he's top 5 in the league right now. Go ahead and do that. Do it.
You're wrong. You just told me to tell you you're wrong, so you're wrong.
Wrong how? Miles, Miles think he's Marcus Garvey, guys. Don't listen to this guy, man. You over here trying to defend.
Marcus Garvey is not talking about football.
Defend Malcolm X. He's trying to defend him. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on, Fred Hampton. Come on, man. Like, listen. I'm telling you right now. Like, it's okay. He's Brother Hurts is a accomplished quarterback.
No, that's crazy.
He said Brother Hurts.
He's an accomplished quarterback in the league. He is. But we're gonna say, yo, Chris Jones said you ain't even got 100 yards. How you don't throw over 100 yards in this modern era of football, guys?
Chris Jones sucks now. So he's a little mad. He's mad because he's out of position. He's not helping this team win. He's getting paid $35 million, and he sucks now. He's Muhammad Wilkerson.
Okay, fine. That can be true. Does that mean that what he said isn't true?
No,
what
it
he
doesn't.
said was true.
But hold up. Would you rather be in the position of the Eagles where they can fix this? And they've struggled. They've struggled in the first 2 games, but they're 2-0. Or would you rather be where the Chiefs are, where they struggled? No, you're gonna say it's too different. Okay.
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Magically put God on the Chiefs and make them play well. So what do you want me to do?
No. I'm gonna say, look. Obviously, you'd rather be the Eagles, but what I'm saying is you are a master of diversionary tactics. We see in the government. Our government's doing the same thing right now, trying to distract us with stuff, throwing us the whole okey doke. That's what you're doing with me right now because we're talking about Jalen Hurts. we're talking about who I'd rather be between AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill. And I'd rather be Tyreek Hill because the ball is traveling through the air to get to me, and we have a decent enough pass game, even though our quarterback sucks.
Okay, but you're doing this off of recency bias. You're doing this off. Yeah, because look, the track record of the last 3 years, AJ Brown's been all pro all 3 years. And who's been his quarterback? Jalen Hurts. So,
and have we not seen dry spells where he doesn't give him the ball?
Bet on that they're gonna fix this, that something's gonna give at some
AJ
point.
Brown and Jalen Hurts got more dry spells than a couple racing towards divorce. They got more dry spells than the couple that sleeps in two separate bedrooms.
Oh, Stuart Scott, you got all these riddles.
No, they do. He was reading the Bible. He was reading the Bible on the bench last year. He said he's not going to bring back the book this year. You think AJ? The second they lose a game, AJ's going to lose his mind. Just wait. All that. You see, all that preaching he was doing online is great. God bless you. It's going to go out the window. Just wait. He's going to lose it. I'm telling you. God's have to give him patience. Tone said. This is a quote from Tone. Tone said that God put Jalen in his life to teach him patience. That's what he said. That's what he said.
We're gonna see on Sunday when AJ gets 100 and 2 touchdowns.
Against who? Who they play?
They play the Rams.
Oh, Miles, you're getting me mad. Next topic.
Okay. We're gonna be back here next week.
Against the Rams of all teams, they're gonna bounce back?
Yeah, they're gonna bounce back.
Oh God. All right. You're gonna see they got him running 5-yard digs and just straight goal routes. Good luck. Just keep doing what you're doing, guys.
You owe me Chick-fil-A anyway, so let's just add it to the pot.
No, actually, it's your fault. Actually, you owe me Chick-fil-A. You don't wipe that out. You wiped out all the good grace you had because you have me on the podcast at damn near 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's all the good grace is gone. In fact, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna be hitting you about a spread. You're gonna supply the spread for the next time we see each other. That's what's gonna end up happening.
Hey yo, that game though, it might be a loss. I like what I've seen from Stafford so far. Some of those throws that he has.
Talk about quarterback.
You did say this. I think this summer you predicted Miles. I think Greg was in agreement. No, I think it was you, Miles, that said that duo of Puka and Devontae is definitely going to be top 2, top 3 this season. And so far, it's only 2 games in, but they look very, very, very good. And Stafford is making sure they both eat. While we're talking about quarterbacks, though, let's shift to the college game and look at the Heisman race. 3 weeks in, has anybody separated themselves in the Heisman conversation?
I mean, you'd have to say like John Mateer is definitely up there. I mean, that was a big win against Michigan last week. or a couple weeks ago. Kid out of Oregon. He's played really well so far. What's his name? Dante Moore. And he's completing 80% of his passes. He's real efficient in that offense, which, I mean, they're known for that. They play quick, get it out of your hands quick. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, I don't think he's going to put up the numbers to be in the conversation, but right now he's still in it. But his quarterback, what's his name, Julian Sayin, he's not that good. He's not that good. So he'll stick around for a few weeks, but eventually the quarterbacks are going to keep jumping him. And the Heisman watch always goes week to week. Like Mateer can lose and have a bad game, and then all of a sudden, damn, he's not even in the top five. We're not even talking about him for Heisman. So watch. I guarantee you there's going to be somebody that we don't talk about that takes a leap at some point.
Hey, Greg, quarterbacks that surprise you so far this season, good or bad?
It's been bad.
Yeah.
Cade Klubnik has surprised me in the worst possible way. I mean, I don't know that I bought all the hype going into the season. I'm not sure why people were buying the Cade Klubnik hype going into the season. In fact, Clemson hasn't had a great quarterback since what feels like Deshaun Watson. I don't remember them having a guy at that position that was phenomenal for quite some time. Oh, and then obviously there's Trevor Lawrence. Okay, guys, don't get on me. Try to say Trevor Lawrence for the record. Since Trevor Lawrence. But, I mean, he's been awful, all right? He's been off target. They're losing games they shouldn't lose. They have a very good defense, a top-tier SEC defense loaded with NFL talent, and they're still losing football games. That falls directly on your quarterback when that happens. So he's been surprisingly bad. I'm not surprised by DJ Lagway being bad. I never believed the hype, to be quite honest with you. I'm not surprised by Lenora Sellers not being everything people try to bill him out to be as well. I didn't believe that hype. I just didn't really see it. I don't see a guy who throws with anticipation. I don't see a guy who throws on time. His superpower is being an incredible athlete and making incredible plays with his feet. And he has a good deep ball. That's not good enough, especially when we're talking about going to the NFL at the next level. Drew Aller hasn't really taken a step forward. He's kind of the same guy. As the more and more you watch him, all the physical gifts that God can give someone at the quarterback position he has, and he just can't seem to understand the nuances of playing the position enough to actually put himself in a position to be one of the top players taken in the draft. Garrett Nussmeier has been good, but he's had his little hiccups here and there too. I still say he's the best quarterback in the class by far, in my opinion, because of the way he gets rid of that football and throws it ahead of time and gives his receivers a great chance to catch the football and is accurate. I like him a lot. Even with some of the struggles, I still think he's probably the best quarterback in the nation, and by a pretty substantial margin. So the Arch has been surprisingly bad. We talked about Arch, surprisingly bad, right? But across the board, I mean, I think the biggest surprise overall is that the development of quarterbacks at the collegiate level isn't good. It isn't good, all right? Like, if these guys aren't independently very good football players, then, they don't shine, right? Because you're not like, your coordinator is not imaginative and creating easy opportunities for explosive plays where they look good. And on top of that, another important thing to note too is like the coordinators are so bad in college that sometimes like, a guy will get taken early in the draft and you're like, I don't even know why this guy's going so high in the draft. I didn't really see nothing from him. I didn't see him pop on, when I watched him play. Well, it's because he was with a bad coordinator, and NFL teams know that, and know that when they get them in their building with better coaching, that they're going to get the best of them. The biggest example of that I can think of is Jaden Daniels. It wasn't that he wasn't great in college; he was great in college, but sometimes you'd watch him play, and it wasn't like you were wowed necessarily, unless he was taking off and running with the football. He could throw the ball, and it was a very good player. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like he was dominant to the point where everyone thought that's the number one pick in this class, and we can't miss with this guy. Do you know what I mean? Like Caleb Williams is another great example. As great as Lincoln Riley is as an offensive coordinator and an offensive mind, he was independently great out of that system, just making plays off schedule, right? That was the reality of it too. So there's just not enough great offensive minds in the collegiate game, and it's really hard to evaluate those quarterbacks in college. But even harder right now to find a guy who's playing at a Heisman level at the quarterback position is going to be a position player this year for sure. It is not going to be a quarterback, and that's not always the case, obviously. So, crazy times.
All right, now let's take a step back from the college ranks to a vet in the NBA who might not be getting the flowers he deserves. The player I'm talking about right now is none other than Dennis Schroeder. Recently, just recently, you know that, well, for some that do not know, that's the 2025 MVP of the Euro Basket. And he won gold this previous year. Also, he led Germany to his first ever FIBA World Cup in 2023, named the finals MVP for that as well. And bronze they won in 2022. Tim Bontemps pointed out this stat, which is, I think, very important, especially for this conversation. Only the only other six players to win MVP honors of the Eurobasket and the FIBA World Cup are all in the Hall of Fame. Sergey Belov, Drazen Dalipagic, Drazen Petrovic, Tony Kukoc, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol. Is Dennis Schroeder a future Hall of Famer?
Has a case.
Yeah.
He has a case. All he does is go to Germany and become the German Michael Jordan. Every time he goes over there. So, and they win every cup. So, I think he has a legitimate case. He's a decorated overseas player. And if you think about him, Manu Ginobili, who's a better player in the NBA and probably is not a great example, but he was a hero overseas as well in the same light. So there's a case for him. Does he get in? I don't think so. But there's a legitimate case. He's definitely underappreciated. That's my take, my 2 cents on it.
Hey, Miles, would you say that he's better than Dirk in regards of German impact on basketball?
No. I'd say no, just because I feel like Dirk he's a legend. Like, yeah, Dennis has won 2 chips the last few years with Germany as far as Euro basketball and the World Cup goes. But like Dirk, I mean, he was one of those guys coming in as a European where they're looking at Europeans as these soft dudes who can't really hoop. I mean, we saw the documentary with Kukoc. Like, the NBA players didn't respect European players back then. So Dirk came in and they learned really quickly, or after a couple years, like, this guy can hoop. Like, he's not just some 6'10" soft dude from Germany. Like, he can hoop, he can shoot, he can get it off the bounce. Like, this is a legend right here. And Dirk is a legend. Like, I mean, that one chip that he got beating Miami, that's worth a lot as far as his legacy goes in basketball. And I mean, I'd argue that's bigger than these 2 championships that Schroeder's won. But I mean, Germans might say otherwise because sometimes Europeans look at like the FIBA World Cup or the Olympics, and they look at that as bigger than an NBA championship. I mean, Melo looks at it like that. He's like, hey, I got a gold medal, so it doesn't matter I didn't win an NBA championship. So some people look at it like that. But yeah, I do think Dennis has an argument to make it because it is the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame. So as far as what he's done in this setting, I mean, he's earned it. You win 2 MVPs like this, and you've made an impact that, I mean, German basketball, right now it's Dirk and then it's him as far as German basketball goes with legacy.
I think he plays another 3-4 years. He'll get in there. He won't be obviously first ballot, but based off the fact that other EuroLeague MVP, EuroBasket MVPs have made it, I think he has, like he said, he has a case to possibly get in for sure. This guy never played with Dennis. They did play for the same team in Toronto years apart. He's definitely in the conversation of probably being a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he currently is going through some other off the court situations, which we've talked about, and we won't dive into that specifically. But I want to ask y'all this: I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard. If I haven't caught on as of yet, should the Clippers actually consider trading Kawhi Leonard?
Who's going to trade for that guy with a RICO charge on his head right now? That's the reality of it. I think that if they could, they would, based on everything we're reading, based on everything we're hearing from the Clippers. They sneak this in. It's that time of year. They're not really putting their names on nothing, but they're telling you they're tired of him and they're tired of his crap and they want him out. Okay, cool, but you weren't saying that when you got him, and you weren't saying that throughout his tenure there. And I know why, but listen, before all this stuff came out about his whole aspiration nonsense where he was over here getting paid for doing nothing and they were circumventing the salary cap, he wasn't playing. He didn't play. Most of the time he's been in LA, he hasn't been healthy. He hasn't played basketball, and no one cared because he played for the Clippers. And that's why he got away with it. And the real reason why he's not a Laker right now is because he couldn't have survived being a Laker. He couldn't handle the pressure of being a Laker and playing with that level of scrutiny on him. If he's pulling this crap for the Lakers, could you imagine how bad it would be? It'd be insane. It would drive him crazy, that guy. So he couldn't be there. But look, I think if they could trade him, they would. I don't know what you're going to get back for a guy who's on an expiring. I think it's an expiring deal now. I think this is his final year of his contract, from what I understand, or at least the way they're talking about it. Maybe there's an out in the contract. I'm not sure.
I think this is I think next year he could hit free agency.
Next year, okay. So this is it, and so you got to think about that. You're getting a rental, and then on top of that, like, what are you getting? Like, the guy is never available to play. It's not about what he is when he's on the floor. It's about when he's on the floor. Right. And if he's ever on the floor. And so I think if they could, they would. They dug their grave. They made the worst trade in NBA history, letting go of Shea, because of what Shea became one of the worst trades. The Nets share that spot with them. You can argue. That's fine. I still hate Billy King. I saw him at an AAU tournament. I almost crashed out and attacked him. But I think the reality of it is that, if you look at this team and the way they're constructed, they're going to have to hit the complete reset, man. And they don't have a lot of assets to do it. And if Adam Silver grows a pair and really does drop the hammer on them for what they've clearly done and what Pablo Torre is clearly right about, then they'll have nothing to rebuild this thing with. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be, but that's Clippers fans are used to that, right? And at least you have a new building to suffer through this misery with in the oncoming months and years as well. And also, Mark Cuban has something to hide. I'm saying it now. He has something to hide. The way he's defending Ballmer when no other owner or former owner is, but he has decided to be his pro bono lawyer. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, Johnny Cochran. All right, he got something to hide. I'm telling you that right now. No way, because Pablo's cooking these dudes.
Oh, he probably got some connection.
One more thing. I'm sorry. Channing Frye, you're an idiot. Channing Frye said, "Oh, why are you snitching?" The function of journalism in this country is to be a watchdog. That's what they do. Go back to Watergate. Yeah, I didn't listen to history class. That's why history's repeating itself. Let me not. You y'all didn't listen. What the heck? That's what journalists do. That's their job. It's investigative in nature. They're supposed to. It's a watchdog function. You don't let these rich people and these people get away with stuff. That's why Pablo's doing this thing. Bring back investigative journalism. Oh, it's going to be tough now, but I like what he's doing. That's all I'm saying. Great work.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. Does everybody do it? No. Because in this space now, freedom of speech isn't really all the time freedom of speech, which is what we saw with my man, who was it on the late night show?
Kimmel. They got him up out of here, man.
Kimmel. They got Kimmel up out of here, and that wasn't even nothing really out of pocket that he said.
Did you see what they're going to replace Kimmel with?
No.
Oh, you guys into the Kirk special every single night. No, it's dead serious.
Since we're talking legacies, let's close with some.
What was I gonna say on the pod?
Since we're talking legacies, let's close with some names who didn't live up to theirs. Give me your top 5 NFL bust. I was going to be nice and say underperformers, but let's just be honest here. Let's be honest on this podcast. Top 5 NFL bust for y'all? And it doesn't have to be drafts. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a drafted player. Jamarcus Russell was a bust. Anything. Could be OBJ.
Can you call a guy who had that start to his career a bust? Though I see what you're saying. It's disappointing, but he was incredible for the time he was incredible, and it was about 4 years. He had that run with the Rams. I won't call him a bust, but it's a shame. It's a shame. There's a lot of guys you could say in the NFL, man. There's a lot of guys that miss.
Russell, Vince Young. Who else? Blackman from the Jaguars. I did think that he was going to be okay in the league, and then he just flamed out quick. I don't even think you can say Josh Gordon. It's just like you said. It's the same thing. It's disappointing because a guy. I mean, Reggie Bush. I wouldn't say he's.
Yeah, I think he had some years where he was.
I think he has some decent years. He was never going to be one of those guys who's a main back. Like he was always going to be that gadget guy who you get swing passes, he returns kicks, he's doing everything. But Maurice Claret, I mean, that's a throwback. Kid was great as a freshman. Tried to say like I want to come out after my freshman year. They didn't let him do that, so he had to sit out a couple years, and then got to the league, and he was a shell of himself. And then
there's so many, bro.
There's so many.
There's so many. It's unreal how many guys in the NFL bust. Pause. But for me, like there's so many names flooding into my head right now. It's kind of hard to focus on one. I think, I can give you examples just off the Giants in recent years. Like, there are guys, Evan Neal is a bust. Like, you know what I mean? It's a disgrace. Trey Lance was an insane miss by the Niners. And they got off him quickly, and they were able to get lucky and find Purdy. But you also have a great offensive player, Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel busted his way out the league too. On drugs and doing all this nonsense and not studying and all that, so being more focused on his OVO chain than his playbook, like Zach Wilson, 100%. Like there's so many guys in the NFL that don't pan out. It's unbelievable. The amount of guys that miss in this league, the amount of guys that don't make it. And
you can honestly look each year at the first round picks.
You could.
They're not, it's like maybe like a 30% hit rate of guys who are going to succeed. Like for all the times you get lucky and you get a Micah Parsons to slide to you, you get the Eagles taking Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. It's dumb stuff like that.
Look at Josh Rosen.
Yeah, Josh Rosen.
Come on, man. Mitchell Trubisky.
It took them a year to realize this guy stinks, and they took Kyler Murray, which, I mean, who knows? I'm not sold on that guy at all to be a franchise guy. But for
remember
Arizona,
the receiver Kevin White? Kevin White went to the Bears like super early in that class.
He was good in college. He just could never stay healthy. But I feel like every year there would be hype, and then he'd get hurt in training camp or get hurt in the first game. Yeah,
dude. There's Isaiah Simmons. Remember Isaiah Simmons from Clemson and how he was supposed to be the next amazing Swiss Army knife.
I don't even think he's on a team right now. That's how bad it is.
Jersey's own Jabril Peppers. I don't know that he ever lived up to expectations. He's not a bust. He's had a long career, right? Although he tried to end it, doing some dumb stuff recently. But hey, that's neither here nor there. You know how it gets on this podcast. You know how people get when I get critical of people from New Jersey. So I'm not going to do that. But Jabril, you can have that conversation. Chase Young, wow. Chase Young, I mean, what a shame. All the talent he had, and to have gone to the Deadskins to start, and then for his career to be where he is now, it's a shame. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys, man. There's a lot of guys that don't pan out. Every single year, you can find 5 busts per year. It's a busty business, the NFL.
Hey, that's a wrap on episode 417 of the BME pod. If you stayed this long, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment to any and everybody about the pod. Y'all know the vibes here. If you stay ready, you gotta get ready. Benchmark, we out. Peace.
Peace.